wanted to talk about today,
Mm-hmm.
getting into the meat and potatoes of things here.
Yes, sir.
Um, just about every season, there is at least one team that goes from worst to first, and I
In
don't
their
see why this
division,
year
specifically.
in their division, yes,
Yeah.
but I don't see why it would be any different this year, given that honestly, all eight of them, like objectively, got a lot better. Not that all of them are realistically capable of like dethroning their
Yeah.
the top dog in the division, but like somebody's gonna do it. In fact, there was multiple somebodies could absolutely do it, and I don't know that any of these teams should be favored, but
I'm going to guess that two do it,
I'm gonna guess I'm gonna for sure at least
but
one. I'd be
there's
shocked if it's
one
not
that I'm
one.
like,
I honestly
this
think two.
one I feel strongly about, and then like the other one, like I don't actually know who it's gonna be. I'm just gonna guess that two do it.
I do. I think I do have a guess at this point. I think I do have one. Let's go through the list here. I have the list.
I
I'm gonna
got it
pull it
too.
up. Wonderful.
For the
So
AFC, we got New England finished last. The Bengals finished last in their division with a winning record.
mhm.
Titans finished last. Chargers finished last. And then for the NFC, Commanders finished last. Bears finished last. Panthers finished last. And the Cardinals finished last.
Now of those eight, if you had to pick a most likely
There's one staring.
to
There's one staring
was
at me.
one staring at you, there's one kind of staring at me too. And the hurdle for all of these is are they better than the top dog? I
Yeah.
think there's a pretty realistic path for one team for me in particular, where I'm thinking like this is it. Like this is I think this I'm gonna predict this to
And,
happen.
one could go worst to first because their own improvements. Plus, like, there's always one team that we think is going to
Somebody
be
else gets
good.
hurt
That
somewhere. Like
one team gets hurt. One team just like the additions that we thought they added actually didn't. They're not clicking. Whatever. So many things could go wrong with a team. So many things can
yeah.
surprisingly go right with a team. Um, but this is a quarterback league.
Hmm.
I'm just gonna. This team, they improved their offensive line, which we've said for more than one offseason that they've done it. But I think multiple off seasons of improving your offensive line maybe is what it takes. Um, and I'm just gonna be praying to God that their quarterback stays healthy, which has been the big issue here.
Hmm.
Well, you know where my
I think we've got the same team.
yeah. Um, I've said I'm not being a Cowboys fan this season. I said I was going to be this team's fan this season. I'm going to go with the Cincinnati Bengals as the one I
Never
feel
mind, we did
most
not have the
confidently
same
in.
team. We did not have the same team.
I figured we didn't. Well, I figured we did for a second because I figured you knew what I was talking
Well,
about.
Cincinnati probably would be the most obvious one just because we've seen them do it, and
Yeah,
like Baltimore definitely got worse. Not that they're gonna be bad. I think Baltimore's gonna be really good, but
yeah.
Baltimore
They lose
got lost like
one of, if
half
not
their
the
coaching
best
staff,
coordinator.
half their starters, especially defensively. Like they lost a lot.
Yeah,
And then yeah, and Cincinnati got better. I firmly believe the pass protection is going to be a lot better this year. I don't know how much of a beat they're going to miss offensively without Brian Callahan. He wasn't the play caller, but he was involved in the play calling. So we'll see. I have faith in the regime there to be able to go on without him, but um, it would look really good for me if they crumbled without Brian Callahan because that would mean Brian Callahan's was good. So, um, but the
I mean
obvious
he
one
could be
for me
really good
here,
without them crumbling.
sure, yeah, that's the perfect scenario, right? Like the one that sticks out to me here, and this is a tough one because
I think I know
I
what team you're talking about now,
okay,
and I really want to say them, but there's a team in there that makes it really,
yes,
really
I
tough to
know,
say
and
them.
that's where I'm at, and
But I
but
don't
it's a
hate
team
you
that
here.
it's a team that you and I have been very positive
Yep.
about for months now.
Hmm.
It's the Arizona Cardinals,
Yes.
and
I believe they make playoffs.
I would be shocked if they didn't. I'm gonna say right now, I like if this team misses the postseason, I am going to be flabbergasted.
Yeah.
Assuming like reasonable health, like
Yeah,
obviously
of course.
everybody's gonna have injuries, but assuming they're like most of their key starters are intact,
Especially,
like
I mean, if
assuming
especially
if they
Kyler.
just have if they just have average injury luck, like if Kyler stays healthy and Marvin Harrison Jr. is healthy, and like I think they're
Trey
gonna be
McBride,
more than okay.
fantasy weapon.
Trey McBride, yes sir. Tip Ryman as well. There as well, who's a little raw as a receiver, but I have a lot of faith in him long term. Um, there's a couple here that stick out to me that I don't think are
Yeah.
really capable. Number one would be the Chargers. There's just no way this team's better than Kansas City.
Yeah.
Like,
I
no chance.
I think that they can start the build towards being better, or at least.
Absolutely.
But year one of Harbaugh, I just Chiefs are a monster. It's just tough.
They're going to have an identity. They're going to
Which
look
is
very
huge.
different this year, and they're going to know what they are.
Hmm.
And I firmly believe that it's going to be a step into the direction where they want to be. But this team does not have the firepower. I'm sorry. You got a camp
Yeah.
battle between Ladd McConkey and DJ Chark for wide receiver one. I love Ladd McConkey as a prospect. This is not inspiring fear in
Yeah.
any defensive coordinator. This
I
is not.
I mean I we'll make predictions about preseason predictions for playoffs and all that, but
Yeah.
I probably am gonna have the Chargers making the playoffs.
I think they very well could. I
But
don't know that I'll have them there, but
AFC's tough.
and especially well, the NFC too. Honestly, this year
NFC
there's
got
like
better.
25 teams where you're looking at like, shit. I don't know. It's hard to keep them out, and it's like, well, you have to keep somebody out, and I mean, and then the other one that sticks out to me is probably not going to happen would be New England, just because they're a year away. Like there is too much newness there. Too
Yeah.
many. There's gonna be too many young
And
wide
then
receivers. Gonna be too many young offensive linemen
I think
playing.
Dolphins pretty good. I think Bills. I think they still have Josh Allen.
I think they reloaded. I don't think Buffalo necessarily got worse this offseason. I think they're.
I think
If
with
they did,
how
it wasn't by
Stephon
much.
played that second half of the year, it's kind of hard to say like
Mhm.
that's as big a loss as some people are making it out to
Yeah.
be. But
And
yeah,
they
and
they
then
did. They drafted Keon Coleman. They signed Curtis Samuel, which look, Samuel's not like incredible, and I was not the biggest Keon Coleman guy, but it's not like they did nothing at receiver to replace
and
Stephon Diggs.
and I
There's
like the
guys in that room.
Jets. I don't know
I
if
like
I'm
the
gonna
Jets
have them
too.
making playoffs. It's gonna be tough in the AFC, but I could see it.
Aaron Rodgers, assuming Aaron Rodgers comes back and is Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be hard to keep them out.
And they improved their weaknesses of O line and
Yeah.
wide receiver, besides
Offensive
Garrett
line got a
Wilson.
whole lot better.
I think O line. I mean, they attacked a decent bit. They with Tyron Smith and then getting Fashanu behind him.
Yeah.
Mike Williams, can you be healthy for a year?
Please.
Because if he's healthy for a year, that definitely wildly changes things. Well, wildly might be
Yeah.
strong, but it definitely it's a definite floor raiser.
Yeah. Another unlikely one to me is the Washington Commanders. I don't necessarily. I don't have any faith in the coaching staff. I'm gonna be totally honest with you. Like Dan Quinn and Cliff Kingsbury is not moving me. Neither is Jaden Daniels. I mean, if I'm being perfectly honest, I like Jaden Daniels. I did not like him more than Drake May. I think that is the kind of mistake that like could get a regime fired ultimately, because I do think Drake May is going to be a better player in the NFL.
I agree
And
long term, but I don't know about like week one.
this season, Jaden's probably going to look better
I agree.
because May does not really have the supporting cast around it right now. I will say Jaden's supporting cast is definitely better, but and I do not think Jaden Daniels would have survived New England. I'm being 100% honest here. Jaden Daniels would have gotten killed. We've at least seen Drake May struggle like with lack of help. We've seen him in that environment. Jaden Daniels just had 2 first-round picks at wide receiver that he was thrown to, and also had 2 first-round tackles blocking for him. We're going to see those guys go next season or within
Yeah,
the next 2 years.
I've heard a lot about him.
So to say he had help would be an understatement. Not that he didn't play well.
Yeah, he played great.
He certainly
yeah.
had plenty to work with. The most interesting one to me here probably might just be Carolina.
I was thinking because it's like weakest. So there's the path is you see it more with how that division
worst
is.
team in the league last year, but they did everything right this offseason. They have the easiest path, and honestly, like Atlanta, as great as a free agency that Atlanta had, we'd be lying if we said Atlanta did everything to capitalize on this position because, well, they just took Michael Penix 8th overall, and that doesn't automatically mean everything else they did was for naught. They are clearly the best team in this division, and they should be the favorite by leaps and bounds. But
leaps and bounds is strong. I mean, I still kind of like the Bucks a bit. I think they improved their offensive line.
I think losing Dave Canales is huge. Every quarterback gets worse when they lose Dave Canales.
That's a good point. We'll
I think
see.
we're going to see much more of a. I think the Baker Mayfield we see this year is much closer to Cleveland Baker Mayfield than Tampa Baker Mayfield. Not that he's going to be bad.
Which year Cleveland?
That's a good question. I think all encompassing.
But we're not getting Panthers Baker Mayfield.
I don't think we're getting Panthers Baker.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get fucking second half Rams Baker. I don't know, but I don't think I have a hard time thinking he's going to get better this year.
I'll probably have the Panthers finish like third in their division.
I think that's fair.
But yeah, I won't be jaw dropped if they were one of the one of the teams that are able to go from worst to first.
Yeah. The Bears.
To me, that's the most interesting. I really like them.
I really want to say yes,
but
Detroit is so damn good.
Green Bay
was the youngest team in the league and still won a playoff game. It's hard to imagine they're not going to get better. Like, I don't know where you fit them in, and that's the thing is it's always a process talking about it early in the season. Like, how the hell is Arizona going to dethrone San Francisco? Like, we don't know. Nobody knows. But
it probably involves an injury, unfortunately.
And I can't believe this is the last team I got to. Tennessee.
I figured you were like saving them for last.
Well,
but quickly for the Bears, because we mentioned the other two teams. I also like Minnesota. I think they got better defensively.
I like Minnesota as well.
I think
that the NFC North might be this year's like AFC North, except the AFC North hasn't gone anywhere either.
Yeah, but I'm gonna, because I think their quarterback play will be better just year round, just because of Kirk's injury last year, really.
Yeah.
And I know we got signs that Kevin O'Connell is great at what he does, but even that can only last for so long. But you give him Sam Darnold and JJ, and we'll see what happens.
I'm not convinced JJ's getting this job out the gate. I don't buy into, like, I've heard some people say if JJ McCarthy doesn't win the job, that says a lot more about McCarthy than it does about Sam Darnold. I think that's a little disrespectful.
We like the darn.
We are very quick to forget that Sam Darnold is. I'm not gonna say he's been great when he's played, but he's certainly been like. There's a reason he keeps getting opportunities.
Yeah.
Right, and it's not just because he was drafted high. Like
he's bounced around from like the worst situations in the league. Like he went from the Jets to the Panthers.
Likes this guy for a reason.
Yeah, he got to be a backup in San Francisco.
Yeah. Looked good when he had to play too. We're being honest.
It's hard not to look good there.
Yeah. Sure, but
he's going to Kevin O'Connell. I think that'll just be the case there too. Throwing to Justin Jefferson
fit for that offense.
T.J. Hawkins and Jordan Addison.
If he plays, it's going to work. And I think if JJ plays, it's going to work. I don't feel too different about Minnesota, regardless of who starts there, which I guess is both good and bad. I don't know, but in terms of like ranking that division, it's impossible because who do you put it fourth? But for Tennessee, I didn't mean to leave them last. It just kind of fell that way. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think I can, in good conscience, pick Tennessee to win the division. I don't even know that I'll pick them to finish second. I will say I can pretty confidently tell you Jacksonville is going to be fourth. I feel very strongly that Tennessee is not going to be the worst team in the division this year. They just got way too much better. You can't just upgrade at every facet. And meanwhile, Jacksonville just overpays for middling free agents. And then, like, Trent Baalke's got to go. I can't believe they're still holding on after bad draft class after bad draft class after throwing money at a mediocre free agent. I don't understand why he's still there. He's still the same guy he was in San Francisco. He still stinks. And he's got to go. And if I'm being perfectly honest, like, I love Indy, and I think them not adding much in free agency besides re-signing their own players says a lot about what they feel organizationally about Anthony Richardson and how much better they believe they're going to be with having Richardson rather than Gardner Minshew.
God, please stay healthy.
I can't say I disagree. I really like, in good conscience, Shane Steichen coaching Anthony Richardson for an entire season. He's got Adonai Mitchell now too,
and at least Anthony Richardson has been a part of the team for a year now with that same coach. So at least
he knows the playbook. At the very least, even if he hasn't gotten the reps, which is what he really needed, he has the playbook down.
He looked
He's
good
been
when
in
he
the
was playing.
offense
I
for a
know
year.
maybe maybe a little more run heavy than other people would like, but he looked good.
Wasn't perfect, but he looked good. I liked him a lot. Um,
I think it's to be a
but I
battle
just
between them and Houston.
I'm, and I'm not entirely sure I disagree, but I'm also not. I'm trying hard to not be biased about this. I want to be as like just as objective as possible without
Yeah.
about regards to Tennessee. I know I have a tendency to be like realistically optimistic, where
Hmm.
I'm like I will always choose like the most realistic but high end projection. Typically for the Titans, that's how I've done it in years past. And weirdly enough, I don't feel as inclined to do that. Even though if there ever was a year for me to do it, it should be this year because bring in Calvin Ridley, Lloyd Cushenberry, J.C. Latham, Jerry Sneed, Cheeto Awuzie,
So
like all
now
these
J.C.
guys.
Latham's a positive.
Hey man, he's an Andre Dillard. When you've had Andre Dillard and Dennis Daly and Jalen Duncan playing left
Careful
tackle for
what
your
you
team the
say.
last 2 years,
You've jinxed Titans tackles before.
J.C. Latham will be better than those guys. I'm not telling you he's going to be a star. I can't even tell you he's going to be a quality
Haven't you
starter.
said this before about a guy? He can't be worse than this guy.
I said this about Dillard. Look, man, there's just no with Bill Callahan coaching him. He was Bill Callahan's favorite player in the entire draft. There's no fucking way he's as bad as Andre Dillard and Dennis Daly and Jalen Duncan. It's not
Well, he
possible.
has to be
It's
receptive to the
not.
coaching, so we'll see what he's got in him.
Well, I think so. They were supposed to have a 30-minute meeting before the draft that ended up being a 2 hour long meeting. So they clearly have a good like thing
No,
going on.
I
I think
bet
it'll be fine.
it's great.
Yeah, I think and like if you saw like you see the video of JC with the sled.
No, I don't think so.
It's like the sled's called Big Bertha. It's a 380-pound sled that Bill Callahan invented that you have to go at it with a certain technique or else it won't move.
Hmm,
There's a video of this and Bill Callahan is just smiling at him the
I
entire
bet.
time. Like he's like a proud father, which is
I
crazy because his son is coaching the team, but that's really how
J.C.
he looks.
Latham, Pro Bowl rookie year. You heard it here first.
Rookie offensive linemen usually aren't too great, but also Peter Skoronski has put on like 10, 15 pounds of muscle. If you look at him, like play strength was his biggest issue, and he has certainly gotten stronger.
Mozzie Smith has
So,
also put on a good bit of weight.
as he should, he's a nose tackle. He's
I
supposed to
know.
be
That's
fat.
what I'm saying.
That's what, yeah, keep feeding him. But Pete's been eating good, and he's been lifting. It looks like he looks good. So that's exciting to see. That left side should be ferocious, especially with Lloyd Cushenberry. It's that like center to left. Like if we just run left every game, I'm excited. And
Tony Pollard.
no, please, Tajay, run Tajay, please. I'm begging you. It's gonna be it's gonna be like a 55-45 split, I think. But I really hope Tajay is the 55.
You
I
think they
really hope.
paid Tony Pollard to be the 45?
I don't know that there's
Top
gonna be
running
like
back money.
pay him top running back money.
I
You gotta
think
be
so.
serious.
There's like the outliers of Christian McCaffrey, but I think you technically might have paid him top running back money just by default of
I
what running
don't
back is.
I don't know because they organizationally they believe in Tajay. They believe in Tajay quite a lot.
Yeah, as an
So
RB2.
no, it's gonna be a pretty even split between the. It's not gonna be swing. It's not gonna swing wildly either way. It's gonna be because they both do the same things for the most part. They
Do you
can
think it
both pass
starts
protect.
leaning one way and then ends the season leaning the other?
I think it's gonna be riding the hot hand for the most part because they're so stylistically similar. It's like okay, who's got it right now? Just feed that guy. Like
Yeah.
like if Ty because like Tajay, you'll see as he gets more carried, like Tajay will start breaking off like a 15, like a 20, like he'll like break 3 tackles with like if he's starting to do that, just keep feeding him. You know what I mean?
Do
And
you
then
like
same
having two stylistically similar running backs, or would you like a Lightning and Thunder?
generally I prefer a Lightning and Thunder, and I was resistant to having. That's why I was so confused at first. But the pod signing, I'm like, he's just Tajay Spears. It's the same fucking guy.
Except better.
Generally, they're a little bit different, but um, then somebody else brought up the idea of like you're not tipping your hand to the defense with whichever running back you have on the because if you've got Thunder on the field, they know you're just picking up the short yardage. Like that's it. If it's like 3rd and 1 and you've got like the 5'8", 220-pound guy, and like damn well that's the bowling ball. Like you're just getting that 1 yard. you're not tipping your hand if it's Pollard and Spears. No matter who's on the field, no matter what the alignment is,
Well
they can
rested, but
both
no
catch the
hand tipping.
ball. They
That's
can
pretty.
right, and you're keeping both legs fresh, and without telling the defense what you're going to do in any given play. So that was the criticism with the Titans, how they used Derrick Henry for years, was always when you take Henry off the field, you know it's a passing down. You can't say that about Tennessee anymore. So, excuse me. So that's exciting.
I mean, Rico Dowdle better than both.
That's real. That's real. That's unfathomably real.
I bet he can have a good season.
I bet he could too. I wouldn't put it past him. But looking at, I find it hard to believe Will Levis won't get better. Just you have objectively better offensive line, objectively way better wide receiver core at this point. Nick Westbrook-Akine is finally the wide receiver 5, which is where he always should have been. Traylon Burks is the backup at virtually every wide receiver position right now. So if anybody goes down or anybody just needs a break at X, Z, or slot, Burks is going to come in and be the next man up. But you've got Tyler Boyd in the slot, who, with 5 years with Brian Callahan, had 4,200 yards. So, I don't know, pretty damn good slot receiver over the course of his career. I'm certainly excited that he's there. DeAndre Hopkins and Calvin Ridley both had 1,000 yards last season. So, sounds good to me. In fact, I think the Titans are the only team that now have 2 receivers who had both 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns last season. So, 2 productive players, 2 very good players that do different things. Hopkins is more of your throw it up and let him go get it. Ridley is your separator, and then Boyd is your security blanket. The Titans now not only have 3 really good wide receivers, they've got diversity of skill set. The secondary is a lot better, and they've got Denard Wilson coaching the secondary. He's a defensive coordinator, but the secondary was his specialty throughout his career. I don't know, I'm talking about them a lot. I'm sorry, but I'm probably more than likely I'm not gonna have them winning the division. I don't think so. Houston got better, and C.J. Stroud is a known commodity. Will Levis is still a question mark.
Yep.
And even if Will Levis is what C.J. Stroud is, there's no guarantee the Titans are winning the division because Houston's roster is probably still better, top to bottom. So even ignoring the quarterback position, wide receiver, it's pretty close. I would probably still give the slight edge to Houston. Secondary, Tennessee's got the edge, but linebacker, it's Houston. Defensive line, it's Houston. Offensive line, kind of a toss-up, but it's probably still Houston. So running back, I'll give that to Tennessee, but it's tough. Joe Mixon stinks. I'm not moved by Joe Mixon in the slightest. I'm being 100% honest. I do not like Joe Mixon whatsoever. Especially the fact that they extended him, I thought was hilarious. But yeah, Tennessee got better. I don't know that they're going to go from worst to first, but I do think they'll be good. And I think they'll be in the mix for the playoffs come late December, early January.
Do you want to try and rank real quick, 1 through 8?
Yes, I think that's perfect. I think
Okay.
that's a good way to end this.
I'll just kind of go as I go here. So I'm gonna go Bengals at 1.
Yep.
I'm gonna go. After that, it's really tough.
There's a lot.
I'm gonna go Cardinals at 2. It's to a point. Some of these I have to balance of I just like the team versus the path is easier. And I know Cardinals have a really tough path, but I think I like them the most next of just the team itself. So I'm gonna go Bengals at 1, Cardinals at 2. Then give me the Bears at 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'll go Panthers. I'll let the easiest path be at 4. And then I will go Chargers at 5 because they still have Herbert.
Wow.
They still have that level of quarterback. And at some point, I'm looking at this list and I'm like, I got to go off of that at some point above some of these other ones.
The path looks.
And then I would probably go Tennessee, then Washington, then New England.
Okay.
I think that's my 8.
Cincy at 1.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go Arizona at 2 as well.
We're locked in there.
That is, pretty firmly. I think I will go Bears 3. The coaching staff is really the hang-up for me here, but if everything for them goes right...
I know offensive coaching staff, there's some questions, but I think that team as a whole really started to buy into Eberflus near the end of the year, which I like, I think is a really good sign.
I don't think that's ridiculous to say.
I think they have the talent to help if the coaching staff is meh offensively. It'll still cap them, obviously, but having, I don't know, I'm a culture that's being set, I think I'm going to value a little bit more.
I think I'll go Carolina at 4, honestly, as well. I think we might have the same top four here because, like you said, easy, definitely the path of least resistance
Yeah.
here for these teams. Everybody else has a much more difficult task at hand.
Hmm.
Like, if I'm looking at these teams, honestly, if a lot of these teams were in the NFC South, you could probably hand them the crown.
Yeah.
Not that Atlanta should be overlooked. I have a lot of faith in Atlanta this year.
Hmm.
I think Atlanta's gonna be really good, but they would have a tough road ahead of them if the Bears were in that division, or the Cardinals were in that division, or the Chargers were in that division. The Bengals, I think Tennessee would give them a run for their money potentially. Like that, they'd certainly give them hell. Um, got my top four. I'm gonna put Tennessee over the Chargers
Okay.
because I don't see a path. I see a path for Tennessee. If Will Levis is that guy, the path is pretty easy.
I think for me,
If Levis
Titans,
is
I'm worried about two teams. Chargers, I am just worried about one.
but the one team is
It's great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like one injury to Chiefs. Like if, and I know that you don't want to go too hard into injuries, but we're talking about
Right.
just what could happen. Like I'm just gonna value. I know Justin Herbert. I know that we've been talking a little down on him, but it's because of how hyped he was. I still think he's an elite quarterback.
Herbert's great.
Yeah, he's
Herbert's
great.
I don't want to discredit Herbert.
Some people just put him above a couple guys maybe they shouldn't. We're really
Well-
just talking about Gabe.
Well, no, there's definitely quite a few.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some Herbert fanboys, but
My concern is Greg Roman as the offensive coordinator. The run game's going to be great. He's got Gus Edwards and J.K. Now you're going to get 2 seconds of J.K. Dobbins, but you're going to have J.K. Dobbins, and then also Kamani Vidal in the 6th round might just be the best pick of the entire draft. I think that was a fantastic pick, and I think he's going to factor in there, especially because you know damn well J.K. Dobbins is not playing the whole season. So Vidal's going to get snaps. He's going to play, and he's going to look good, and he might honestly win the starting job by the end of the year. It wouldn't shock me at all. In fact, I might just take Kamani Vidal in the last round of my fantasy drafts this year and just hope and pray he gets not hope and pray JK gets hurt. Just hope and pray.
Tread carefully, brother.
Somehow.
What are you about to say?
Hope and pray he gets to play somehow. I'm not going to say how. I just hope he gets
I
to
always
play.
draft. I usually like to draft J.K. Dobbins at the end of a draft, hoping he stays healthy.
I'm gonna draft JK's backup at the end of the draft and just let things play as they will. I'm just being realistic. But
J.K. went to the same person that Aaron Rodgers went to, so he's got mystical tendons now.
Healing powers, he should be okay. But Tennessee over the Chargers, just because I think the path is more realistic. Because if Will Levis is that guy, I don't see Tennessee's major weakness. I don't see a giant hole in this team as long as Levis is that dude. Maybe free safety at this point, but it's not like the offseason's over. Where if we sign Marcus May, he has the Denard Wilson connection. He coached him with the Jets, and he had his best playing years with Denard Wilson. So who knows? But yeah, I've got Tennessee 5, Chargers 6. I think I might even put. This is tough. These two, I think, are the least likely, no matter how you slice it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have more faith organizationally in New England at this point. Based on how they went about the offseason, I might just put New England above Washington.
I mean, there's not like a Giants in the NFC or the AFC East where I'm like, I think the three teams that it'd be harder for Patriots to pass the three teams than Washington.
I guess Washington probably has an easier path. Either way, I don't think I care too much about 7 or 8 here. I think Washington, probably does a better chance than New England does, and New England just does have 3 teams you have to worry about.
And like I said, long term, I think May will be better. But year one, I think Daniels will probably be better.
Yeah, I think that's fair. But I don't feel bad about any of these 8 teams. All of them got better. It's not arguable. They all got better. It's just a matter of
supposedly.
On paper, all these. I don't think anybody's gonna have these teams looking. That doesn't mean they can't finish with worse records because other teams in the league got better too, and shit happens. But I feel better about all 8 of these teams.
So I think our only differences were flipping 5 and 6.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah.
And even then, I get your reasoning. Like you said, only one team to worry about for the Chargers. However, that one team is
It's
the
the
Kansas
best
City
team.
team.
It's the
So,
dynasty. But
yeah. So I don't know. I feel like if the 2021 Chargers couldn't do it, I have no idea how the 2024 Chargers are supposed to do it.
Harbaugh magic, baby. Herbert continues to improve, maybe.
No, I'm just kidding. He'll get better. But
Like
I
if
just
he
don't know.
removes his signature move, he's a better quarterback.
the,
Maybe.
the fourth quarter interception.
Yeah, if he just removes that, like that might help.
Yeah. I'm just concerned. Like the wide receiver core is one of the worst in the league, and you've got Greg Roman drawing up the plays. How
but
great can Herbert?
They've got a white boy with spirit.
They do. Trust me, Ladd McConkey is going to be their highest producing receiver. I firmly believe that. I love Ladd McConkey. I don't necessarily have faith in Greg Roman that he's learned his lesson and he now knows how to design passing concepts.
I mean,
I'm sorry, I'm not there.
Quentin Johnson breakout.
I'm not giving up on him, but it was bad.
It's like he'll probably never be a wide receiver one.
I think he could at least carve out a role. Let's start there. Let's start by him just getting on the field and looking like an NFL player, and then we'll go from there. I'm not giving up on him yet, but it was bad.
I'm googling Chargers wide receiver depth chart. I just want to.
They've got Josh Palmer. They've got DJ Chark. I think they signed Zay Jones as well. Oh no, the Cardinals signed Zay Jones. Excuse me.
This must not be up to date.
Somebody else, I thought. But yeah, I know they have DJ Chark. I know they have Ladd McConkey.
Okay, Chargers.com I don't think is up to date because they don't got Ladd.
Wow.
All they have is on here is Josh Palmer, Quentin Johnson, and Darius Davis.
That is not good. But they have DJ Chark in the room, and they have Ladd McConkey in the room. So there's guys.
Here we go. I think this one's up to date here. Still Josh Palmer, Quinn Johnson, Ladd McConkey, DJ Chark, Brendan Rice.
Yep.
Darius Davis.
Johnson as well.
Oh, Sime. He was on the Cowboys.
Sime Fehoko?
Yeah.
I didn't know he was on the Chargers.
Neither did I.
Something really like Semi. Maybe he'll
Johnson Cornelius.
Yep, Cornelius Johnson, the Michigan guy.
Yeah.
Definitely a culture.
Jalen Gill. Leon Johnson III. Jalen Johnson.
Some people really like Brendan Rice. Some people really didn't like Brendan Rice. So we'll see how he does. There's probably a reason he fell as far as he did.
I don't know how much training he did with his dad, but his dad said after the draft, like, all right, you're doing all your training with me now. Time to prove people wrong. So if you weren't training with your wildly considered the greatest of all time at the position you play.
Pretty easily the greatest wide receiver ever played the game, I feel.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what you were doing.
Yeah, now I'm starting to question your decision making.
I don't know. I don't think he stunk, but I just he plays kind of weird.
Well, he went in the 7th round, so the expectations are actually...
There's no expectations.
Yeah, they actually doesn't really have any.
The only reason he would have any to begin with is because his last name is Rice.
That's literally it.
That'd be the only reason. That's why people were like, up to the 4th round and beyond, people were like, why is Brendan Rice falling?
Well, I know why Rashee Rice is falling now.
Yeah, well, it's because they know who he is. That's really what it was. People were like, he's fallen so far. It's like, well, this is like, if his last name wasn't Rice, nobody would be like, oh, he's fallen. Like, not that he, couldn't have gone earlier and it would have been fine. It's just like, let's be real.
I don't know. USC. If his last name was something different, he probably still have a decent enough. Once he hit the 7th round, there'd probably be a decent enough people being like, "What the heck?"
There's plenty of Power 5 players getting drafted around 7. The Titans took Jalen Harrell out of Michigan.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, the fan base is like
their sack leader.
One of the biggest fan bases. Like, there'll be enough people being like, "What's going on?"
I suppose, but I don't know. Some fan bases hate their players. Like, I saw some people say Ramel Keaton should have been drafted around 6. I'm like, you're stupid. Like, you must not have watched the same Ramel Keaton the rest of us watched at Tennessee last year. He was dropping everything. I don't remember where he went. I think he went to the Raiders signed him. But I don't know. Shit happens. All right. Are we moving on from?
Yeah, I think so.